Hello, my name's Caroline Lucas. I'm the co-leader of the Green Party of England and Wales, and I'm the MP for Brighton Pavilion on the south coast of England. And I'm so sorry that I can't be with you in person myself in Geneva right now, but I'm delighted to have the opportunity to share a few thoughts through this virtual means. And as you know, the Non-Proliferation Treaty has long been regarded as the cornerstone of the global nuclear non-proliferation regime. A few weeks ago, I received a letter from the UK Foreign Office reasserting their belief that the best way to approach multilateral disarmament is indeed by a way of step-by-step approaches based on existing instruments, above all, of course, the NPT. But in the same correspondence, they refused to provide specific numbers on the size of the UK's current stockpile or the timetable of their reduction programme. And of course, therein lies one of the many powerful reasons why so many of us are campaigning for the UN Treaty on the prohibition of nuclear weapons. The Non-Proliferation Treaty framework still matters, of course, but it just hasn't delivered all it promised. Indeed, it's become an excuse for nations like the UK not to act. So I very much hope that the Ban Treaty has a high profile in both the Preparatory Committee talks this year and, of course, at the 2020 NPT Review Conference. MPs from at least 4 UK political parties have now signed ICANN's pledge, promising to work for Britain to join the treaty on the prohibition of nuclear weapons, with all that means in terms of moving towards cancelling Trident replacement and dismantling the UK's nuclear weapon infrastructure. And of course, parliamentarians have an absolutely vital role to play alongside civil society in keeping up the momentum. Parliamentary CND recently launched a cross-party backed motion in Parliament urging our government to take constructive steps to progress disarmament initiatives here in Geneva. And we work constantly through parliamentary questions to hold our government to account over its wasteful and dangerous programme to replace Britain's nuclear weapons system, Trident. And as a Green Party MP, I'm immensely proud that Greens took the lead in the European Union to support the UN negotiations, and that global Greens are also working within their own governments, parliaments and civil society to promote signatures and entry into force of the treaty. Now, I was in New York myself for the UN negotiations, and I saw firsthand the real seriousness with which so many states participated in the negotiations. But I saw as well the UK's empty seat, and I felt so ashamed that our government has behaved so irresponsibly by boycotting the process. And worryingly, the UK government has not yet decided whether it will attend the UN high-level conference on nuclear disarmament. And I'll be working with fellow parliamentarians here in Britain to redouble efforts to get the UK to engage meaningfully, not just in the NPT process, but in the process of eradicating all nuclear weapons from our planet. Joining the treaty on the prohibition of nuclear weapons would immeasurably strengthen Britain's defence and security. Moreover, opinion poll after opinion poll shows that the British people are overwhelmingly in support of getting rid of Trident and in favour of multilateral nuclear disarmament. And I would argue that the majority of countries in the world coming together at the UN is a shining example of exactly that kind of multilateralism. The Ban Treaty provides in its Article 4 for a process for nuclear weapons states to engage prior to disarmament through a legally binding, time-bound plan for the verified and irreversible elimination of that state party's nuclear weapons programme. And Parliamentary CND backs this route for our government to engage with the treaty. And we're delighted that CND has commissioned a panel of experts to look at all of the legal and technical ramifications of such a plan, to assist this and any future UK government to take the necessary steps to sign and ratify the treaty. And as the chair of Parliamentary CND, I pledge to do everything I can to bring the UK on board. Their stated commitment to multilateral disarmament just isn't consistent with their current stance on the Global Ban Treaty. nor is their refusal to commit never to use nuclear weapons first consistent with showing real leadership on nuclear disarmament and proliferation. Leadership and trust are essential if we're to make real progress. Security should be at the heart of national government decision-making, not a stubborn ideological adherence to the nuclear doctrines of the past or indeed to the myths of deterrence. And not, certainly, the bellicose models of national security that create conflict. What I'm talking about is real, genuine human security, in which our best resources and diplomacy cooperate to tackle and reverse things like climate breakdown and provide enough food and water and shelter and peace and education to meet the world's needs. And that needs to be the basis for international agreement as well. So as the Preparatory Committee talks are underway, we need to remember that articulating a powerful vision of peace and cooperation is just as important as making a case against the weapons that we want to ban. We have an incredible opportunity right now to deliver a future free from nuclear weapons, a future that is positive, safe and secure. And each of us has a role to play, imagining, sharing with others and crucially making that future happen. These talks will help pave the way, and that's why it's so important that we ensure that they are as ambitious in their scope as they possibly can be, that they are radical in their objectives and bold in their thinking. And I know all of you there will help to make that happen. Thank you.